March is Women's History Month, and here today to tell us more about a famous woman in Denver's history, our historic Denver's Molly Brown House Museum Director, Andrea Malcolm. Andrea, thank you so much for being here. I just love talking about Molly Brown because, my goodness, she has done so much for us. So,
she is one of those iconic women that we're so proud to have in our history here in Colorado.
Yes.
So not only is she sort of most famous for having survived the sinking of the Titanic and being crowned heroine of the Titanic, she helped start juvenile court reform system. She helped start the Denver Dumb Friends League. She did so much for our city. And she also, little known fact, ran for U.S. Senate in 1914. So I think she was one of those women who paved the way, who held open the doors, our poor dear Pat Schroeder would have said, for women in politics, women participating in our democracy. And she's just one of those women that when you hear her story, you're so inspired.
Yes, and I think so many people coming into the museum see her and see all of the incredible things that she did, especially back in those times, and are probably so inspired to be doing something similar, if not just being empowered themselves. So as the museum director, what is your favorite part of the museum, and how can people visit? Because it's just the coolest place to be, I think.
Yeah. So her home, Capitol Hill, beautiful historic home. It's restored back to the way it was when she lived in the house, and you get to walk around and be in her spaces and see her things, see letters that she wrote to people, see newspaper articles, and you get to really get a sense of what it would have been like to live in her time, to sort of what world was she navigating. We offer both self-guided and guided tours, so you can come explore on your own, listen to audio, look at text, you can touch things, you can just sort of be in the house, or you can be with one of our amazing docents and take a guided tour. Or if you know an educator, let them know, bring your school kiddos to the museum and learn about Mrs. Brown, and how we can take her life and turn it into positive change today.
Yes, I think we were talking during the commercial break about how many kids are on spring break right now, and how you guys are pretty swamped, which is so wonderful. But you were talking about how you love the kids that come in that are so excited about Titanic, right? And hearing her story and how awesome it is. I mean, are these kids just so excited to learn more?
They are. You can see their light bulbs go off over their head when they hear the story of this woman who did these great things, and to know that she was just a girl like them, a child like them, and that you can go on to do these great things, and you can go on to be someone like a heroine.
Yes, absolutely. So how are you guys celebrating Women's History Month at the museum?
We have a series of great women's history tours where we really dive into what it was like to be a woman in Margaret's time and navigate the world. How does that affect us today as a woman, and we navigate the world? So great tours with our amazing docents, and then we're of course tipping into Titanic Month at the Molly Brown House Museum as well.
Yeah, wonderful. There's so much to do. What else is going on in terms of new exhibits that you guys have, or anything new that we can see in the future?
Coming up in April for Titanic Month, we have Titanic Memories. It's like immersive theater. So you get to be in a room in the house, and an actor will portray someone from the Titanic, and you get to learn about stories like the one Japanese passenger on the ship and what it was like for him to survive the disaster, or the socialite from England who was a fashion designer, and you get to hear her story. So you get to hear these great stories about people who survived the sinking along with Mrs. Brown and hear their tales. And then stay tuned, we have a great summer exhibit coming where we're going to talk about sort of how the world changed thanks to Mrs. Brown, but also something called the World's Fair of 1893.
How would you say in this last 30 seconds or so, Mrs. Brown has inspired you in your life?
Me personally, I think she persevered and she was outspoken. So I think she saw a need and she knew she could be a voice for those who didn't necessarily have a voice because they were labor workers who the mine companies didn't respect their time, or women trying to gain the right to vote, that she can inspire us all to take action.
Yes, and we are inspired today. Andrea, thank you so much for being here. Yes, of course, we'll guys celebrate Women's History Month by learning more about the amazing Molly Brown at the Molly Brown Museum at the Molly Brown House. Head to mollybrown.org to check the tour schedule and to buy those tickets.